Alright, so after several years of speculation, we have finally got the thing that we have been speculating about or talking about all sorts of leaks about. Well, actually, technically we didn't really get it because it's not actually a Nintendo Switch Pro. We got a Nintendo Switch OLED and the internet is completely up in arms about it. So you're probably thinking, what the fuck does Prem think about this situation? And I'm surprisingly not as disappointed as everyone else. I don't know. When you're dealing with leaks, you always know that not everything is gonna be accurate, right? Like when you're dealing with leaks, they'll get some things right and then other things won't be right because companies are making decisions and changing their mind on things. So sometimes just because the leaks are saying, oh, it's gonna do 4K, it's gonna do this, doesn't necessarily mean that it's guaranteed. They got a lot of things right though in the leaks, but we're gonna talk about that anyway. So obviously we all saw the trailer. Nintendo obviously dropped a PR statement that says Nintendo Switch OLED model has a similar overall size to the Nintendo Switch system, but with a larger, vibrant 7-inch OLED screen with vivid colors and crisp contrast. Nintendo Switch OLED model also features a wide adjustable stand for tabletop mode, a new dock with a wired LAN port, 64GB of internal storage, and enhanced audio for handheld and tabletop play. And you can see the little diagram showing the shit, so pretty much mostly the same except the screen is bigger, the screen is OLED, you've got that way better stand, it uses the same Joy-Con like connectivity. And they got the white model now, which I'm not gonna lie, the white looks sexy. Okay, I don't really like the Joy-Cons because honestly, the buttons are too small, the Joy-Con or the analogs are too small. I'd be using that Hori. Like, the shit is huge as fuck when you put it next to the Switch, but it's so much more comfortable. Only problem is it doesn't have rumble, and that's kind of a really annoying thing, but aside from that, it's a really nice thing to attach to your Switch. But anyway, the question on everyone's mind is, are you going to be copying this new device? And for me, I think I'm a sucker, so I'm gonna have to cop. Let's be real, I'm gonna cop the shit, okay? Literally, like, half the people complaining are still gonna cop anyway. Like, I see you, I know you're gonna cop. Like, look at you, you're gonna cop that shit. Like, one thing we could pretty much confirm about this Nintendo Switch OLED is that if you're someone who only plays in docked mode, you pretty much have literally no reason to get it, alright? It's the same Joy-Cons except for the color change. You're going to be playing it on whatever TV or monitor you're using before, whatever controller you're using before. There's no battery benefit, and if you're playing in dock mode, that wouldn't matter either. There's no dock benefit. I mean, there's a new dock. I mean, I guess if you want the LAN port, you could do that. But if I'm not mistaken, they already had like a USB to Ethernet adapter for the original Switch. Like, I think that was a thing. Also, it's been confirmed that the Switch dock for this OLED version can be purchased separately. So again, if you already had an original Switch, there'll be no point in getting this version. Obviously, if you had no Switch, then get this version. But if you already had a Switch, simply just getting that Ethernet adapter, there'll be no real benefit to getting the OLED version. But for handheld users, it's night and day. Like, let's be real. I got the Switch in 2017. I almost got it on launch, but then it was completely gone. And I ended up getting it around 2017 summer. And I remember, like, you know, loving the fuck out of it. But honestly, I got a new phone. Was it in like 2019? Because I used to rock the Galaxy S7 Edge, and you know, the old school phones, the old school smartphones with the thick bezels at the top and bottom. And then in 2019, I got the Galaxy S10, you know, the full screen phone design that we've been seeing from like the iPhone X era onwards. Like, everyone's got this full screen phone design. And after a while, I really just started to fucking hate the bezels on my Switch. It was just so thick and like in your face. All the old like we had an old TV in our house, had thick ass bezels. I had to upgrade that. Like, I was getting really sick of the thick bezel. And obviously phones have moved to OLED as well, and OLED is so nice and vibrant, you know, aside from the burning, it's a really nice image. So to get an OLED version of the Switch that is slightly bigger and has way more vibrant color and has the better audio, because they claim that it's got like some nicer audio. I'm gonna have to see like some videos on it to really confirm how much better this audio is and if this OLED is truly as high quality as it should be, given that it's an OLED. But assuming it's got better audio, because the original Switch speakers are kind of shy, if it's got way better audio and OLED and a better stand, then this is pretty much the best way to play Switch games in handheld mode, better than the Switch Lite, which at the time the Switch Lite came out, because it had way better bezels, like the way it looked, it wasn't as thick with the bezels. I would have said the Switch Lite would have been a better handheld device. But now with this, I think this takes the cake as the best Switch handheld. But I guess the main reason why I'm not so mad that it's not a 4K bump is because, I mean, we remember the new 3DS, like, they kind of split the whole, like, console thing. Like, you had, like, the new 3DS exclusive games and then somewhat exclusive to somewhat, and it was really a bit of a mess. Like, with the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X, like, you could still, like, there was no exclusive games to the Pro models because they were the main consoles. But because the original 3DS wasn't that powerful anyway, it's like we needed to have that Pro exclusive game selection just so we could get certain games to run on them. And I'm afraid that will be a case with the Switch as well, because they were just about getting like third-party ports, a lot of them not the greatest in terms of like the way they were ported. We were already just about getting third-party games to run on the original Switch when it was PS4 and Xbox One games. But now with PS5 and Series X, it's just like, for them to try and get those games, like now they're using all sorts of cloud methods and shit like that just to try and get games to run. If they actually made a Pro model that could run certain third-party games that the original Switch couldn't, there would be a lot of like issues with the whole system and it would complicate things. I mean, I would have gotten the Pro, I would have been fine. I would have loved to dock it and play at 4K, but I could see why they didn't do it. Plus, of course, it gives them that selling point of, this is what we're going to do for the Switch 2 now. Because Nintendo, when they do the Switch 2, now pretty much all they have to do is make it run at 4K docked, 1080p handheld, obviously like maybe slightly tweak the Joy-Cons, make them better, make sure they, you know, don't drift like it's Mario Kart, get obviously some good exclusives, and make sure it's powerful enough to where it can at least run PS5 and Series X ports of games. Obviously not as well as they do in PS5 and Series X, but at least at a playable frame rate and a decent resolution of at least 1080p, and the Switch 2 is already going to be off to a good start. That's all they need to do now to make the Switch 2 sell. Had they given 4K to the Switch Pro, the Switch 2 would need a lot more than that for it to even sell. Like, I don't know what they would even be able to do if they already played the 4K card with this Switch. On top of that, if the Switch 2 has backwards compatibility with the OG Switch, then it's easily going to sell like hotcakes. Because even if there's like one exclusive on the Switch 2 on launch, people are still going to cop just because all the original Switch games will run on the Switch 2. And if they get little next-gen upgrades and shit, like I could play Mario Maker for, okay, Mario Maker is a sprite-based game, probably not the best example, but if I could play like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe at 4K, you know, before they drop an actual 4K Mario Kart, if I could play like Odyssey at 4K, like, yeah, I've saw like even the Switch emulators, I saw Bowser's Fury at 4K and that shit looked beautiful, like my god, like if they just allow like basic like bumps of resolution or frame rate or whatever for their first party shit, and then the third party devs obviously update their shit for the Switch 2, then they've already got a clean cut way to promote the Switch 2. So I can see why they didn't do it this time. Kinda sucks, but you know, it is what it is. If you don't have a Switch, obviously you get this version. If you do have a Switch and you play in handheld, maybe consider getting this version. Apparently it's like $350, 330 quid. So, you know, if you play in only docked mode, probably don't get this version if you already have an original Switch. And if you just bought an original Switch right now, I'm sorry, man, you done fucked up, but it's cool, it's cool. It happens to the best of us, you know, you get tech before the new shit comes out. It happens, right? You get the Switch 2, it's cool. It's probably gonna be like 2-3 years before we get the Switch 2 anyway. They're probably gonna milk this one till like, what year are we in, 2021? Maybe 2023, 2024, then we'll get the Switch 2, I don't know. Unless they go completely left field and make a whole new random console or a Switch U. Some ridiculous shit like that. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this Switch OLED. Are you looking forward to getting this, or are you not going to get it? Do you think it's a good deal? Are you upset that's not 4K? Do you think it makes sense that they left those features for a potential Switch sequel? But yeah, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell. More content coming soon to the channel. But it's your boy, PREMulous, Rem Gang, and I'm out.